This is Christy Bridges from One Moment Wiser, and I have my special friend and writing partner and editor, author, what else do you do? Oh my goodness, Sarah Soon with me.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. So Sarah was one of the authors and the editor for Option Ocean last year. And she actually has her own blog to help people learn to write and write well. So if you need a little help or a little guidance or just some inspiration sometimes, Sarah is the one to go to. Last year we began our novel writing classes, the It's About Time writing workshops, and this year we're expanding that to memoirs and devotionals. Basically, if you're interested in help with writing, then let us know what kind of writing you do, because we would love to put together a workshop for you.
Absolutely.
So why are we wearing bathrobes?
Well, that's a great question. Because we are at the Mayo Hotel. We had a staycation here. Chrissy was kind enough to come with me because I'm writing a novel called Love at the Mayo, and some of it is set at the Mayo Hotel, so we wanted to get the full experience. So they have Mayo bathrobes.
Woo woo! We're staying ritzy. So Sarah has written this amazing first draft of a romance, and we are, like she said, just doing a little research this weekend. But as we talked, we realized more and more that there are certain things that make our days more productive.
For sure.
That help us keep our sanity. What was it you were telling me? Don't just deal with the urgent, but deal with
the important.
The important. And it's so easy to, especially when you're self-directed in your work, to just respond to what people need and not do what God's put in your heart, especially if you're not listening to God and actually asking for that guidance. Well, you know, He knows more than we do what we need to accomplish, what will really do the job, and what will really give us comfort and satisfaction in our hearts. So, Sarah, how do you stay on track? How do you make sure that you're doing what you need to do? You have a pretty fulfilling life, I think.
Yes, I'm still a work in progress. And it seems like going into 2020, I was like, I need to be more intentional. And some of the things I do is when I get up, I am a morning person, so I prefer to get up early. I try to do it before the sunrise. And I have, as much as I possibly can, depending on my schedule, try to have that quiet time just to reflect and pray and get ready for the day with the Lord and process things. And just, sometimes I might read the Bible, I might do some stretching and just talking to God. And that is usually the best way to start my day. Other times I might feel nudging to just start writing and working and then do some prayer maybe later in the afternoon or in the evening. But my general rhythm is to start with prayer.
I think that's so smart. And when we wait till the last minute and hit that final snooze button and have to race into the day, which is something I did for years and still have the temptation to do, we start our day all discombobulated. Mm-hmm. That's a fun word. Yeah. But if we take a moment, several years ago, I just started where I wake up and instead of, accepting negative thoughts, oh, I'm running late, oh, I got to go to work, I started saying, hey, thanks for this day. Mm-hmm. And that changed the pace of my morning. I see someone watching. My mom actually joined us live.
Hi.
And there's a woman who opens her day with prayer and Bible study. And sometimes she'll send us little voice recordings of the Psalms or things like that that she's read during her morning. And it totally, I've saved all of those because that just makes my day to hear my mama seeking God. So what do you, I know that you work out because you got me up before the sunrise. And I'm grateful for it, to work out. But do you just lie in bed and talk to God, or do you actually journal?
I do both. I sometimes just want to lay there and talk because if I get up and go, I'm a very much a doer, task-oriented person. So if I don't sit still and lay and be quiet, there's a chance I'm going to start talking to God and cleaning my house, and picking up this that I didn't pick up last night, and oh wait, let's go put on some makeup. So if I want to really get serious and have that time, it's best if I either walk or just lay still and hopefully not fall back to sleep. Most of the time I don't. But there are a few times when you wake up and you're like, whoa.
I'm like, Lord, thank you for this.
The snoozing prayers. But yeah, I usually try to be still and just try to settle my mind. And what I've done recently that's helped a lot is I'll have a journal with me. And as I'm praying, if my mind starts wandering, I'll just write down my to-do list or things that my mind's saying, this is urgent, think about this. And then sometimes I'll even say a prayer, Lord, this is on my mind. What should I do about this? And that just helps incorporate the Lord in all of it, because what he's been telling me is I want to be part of all your day. Not just say, oh, I've done my devotional, now I'm going to go on and do my day. It's like, talk to me throughout the day, include me, realize I'm with you. So when you're running errands, talking to friends, or even doing your work, I'm right there beside you, so you can always ask me, hey, what do you think about this? And that's something I know that he's always with me, but just to be intentional about that, that's something I'm working greater on. And I know the Holy Spirit, he's always available. So that's one of the advantages we have as believers, is when you do get stuck. So many times, like in a book, I'll get stuck and I'll start walking around the room and I'll say, what am I supposed to do, Lord? What can I do to improve this? Or how do I get out of this? And sometimes I'll just have to set the book down for a day and get back to it the next day, or just ask him and then he'll give me an idea. So yeah, so definitely incorporate him. But journaling has really helped me. I think probably the biggest thing it's helped me is to get my thoughts down. So you have so many thoughts in your brain, and I know my virtual assistant, there's somebody, I think he has a saying that your brain makes a lousy office. So it's good not to keep it in the brain, but to write these thoughts down that, when you're like, oh, I need to get this at the grocery store, I need to text this person about this appointment. And it's better, instead of just doing those things right then, say, okay, I'll write it down to do it later, and then your brain can start settling down.
Start prioritizing, and you no longer have the chaos. Your brain makes a lousy office. That is a great quote. If you're listening and you know who said that quote, then post it in the comments, even if you're listening to the replay of this. So I like that you spend that time just with God, and you talked about praying through your to-do list. One of my favorite things growing up, and one of the reasons that I just love cooking, is when we would have a big holiday, Thanksgiving or Christmas. All the ladies would arrive at my grandma's house, and she would give everybody something to do. And we laughed and carried on and had such a good time in the kitchen working together.
Yeah.
But we didn't do what so many of us do. We didn't go about our tasks in silence because we have it totally covered and we don't need help. We hung out while we were doing those things. Well, we tend to ignore God when we think we've got things under control. And that is not why he made us. He made us for companionship, and the tasks, the things to do, those are just extras. Those are just things we can do together. In Wisdom Better Than Wishing, I talked about how I think of God kind of, waking us up on Christmas morning and going, hey, come out here. And he takes us in our little donkey slippers to the garage where he helps us build our Christmas bike. And then over the years, he helps us build bigger and bigger things because because that's the way God works. He works hand in hand. He doesn't say, here, do this, and then come back and we'll talk. So I love that you actually do your to-do list with God. I think I'm going to start doing that. I do journal my prayers because it keeps me awake and focused. I don't journal them often enough, which is why some mornings I fall asleep. So I'm glad for the encouragement. What else do you use your journal for? Sarah is actually, I have to tell you, the month of January on Sarah's blog, she is going through the journaling process with people, what tools to use. What else are you talking about this month? You have a couple of special writers.
I do. One is Dee Selby, and actually in her post, she's a professional organizer. She quotes and tells us who that quote came from. Your brain is a lousy office. So after this, I'll put it in comments. And she's going to talk about how she uses her journal to organize her business and organize herself. And she writes everything down in her journal. So that is in that post. And she's organized my office. So I know she is great at her job. And she organized me because she's my virtual assistant. Mm-hmm. And then, voila, Christy. Oh. She's the guest post for the 28th. Mm-hmm. So if you want to just give a summary of what you're going to talk about.
Sure. So I'll give you 2 words. Googly eyes. And 2 more words, red goo. And you'll have to read the post to find out what those have to do with journaling. But you can journal for your own soul rest, that intimate time, that reflection. Absolutely. But I highly recommend that you also journal for creativity and for good times, because we tend to remember hard times easily, mm-hmm. while the little good things that God sprinkles throughout our day fall through the cracks of our memory. So your journal is a good place for that. And
absolutely.
Gosh, I put poetry and pictures and everything else in my journal. Sermon notes and Bible verses and quotes. There are so many things that it's just good to have a place to jot it down.
Absolutely. You
have a unique journal, though.
I do. And I'm actually going to be blogging about it. You can't see it, but it says the High Performance Planner. Mm-hmm. But what I like about this is not just your daily planner where you write down your to-do list and what you're going to do at each hour slot. It also has reflection for the beginning of your day, what's going to be most important, what do you need to keep focused on, who do you need to maybe write a note to, and then of course it has like your 3 most important tasks, but it just helps to keep what's important on priority instead of what's urgent. And then at night it has a daily reflection, so did you meet your goals, did you use your energy well, did you connect with other people? So it's also very relational, which I like, because I tend to be a task-oriented person and be like, no, I don't need to have lunch or talk to you. I need to get 10 things done today. Mm-hmm. So I think the Lord's trying to bring me into balance. Having a fiance helps because he's very much a relationship-oriented person. So he's like, come on, Sarah, let's do this and that. So it helps me balance. But yeah, the planner is good too because it says, who did you connect well with today? And who did you invest in? And then at the end of the week, it has a weekly assessment on a variety of different things you score yourself actually on like 10 different categories about how did you spend your energy? Did you stay focused? Did you connect well with others? And you give yourself a score, not to be perfect, but just to say, okay, let's focus even more next week on these areas that I didn't do as well. So it's a great journal where you can write down notes and just assess how you did.
I like that it addresses a whole person. So
Yes.
It's by Brendan Burchard, who is amazing when it comes to entrepreneurial power, right? How to keep things going and make your business work and how to stay organized. But I love that he focuses on the whole person. Mm-hmm. And that self-reflection at the end. I've been listening to the 24/7, or what is it?
Pete Greig.
It's with Pete Greig, Greig, and it's called Lectio, Lectio 365. It's a prayer app. He wrote a book called How to Pray, And he founded a movement called the 24/7 Prayer Movement, where all over the world there are prayer rooms that are open 24 hours a day that are welcoming to just anybody. And you come in and pray. And so he talks about the examine, how at the end of the day, you look back over your day and you say, where was God in this day? And you find those places where maybe you felt hurt or frustrated, and you see where God has been and what he's been doing. And you find those places of blessing and you go, oh, yeah, I remember that. God was totally there. Well, that's awesome for us spiritually, but it's also awesome for our memory and for our self-perception.
Oh, big time.
Something like the Brendan Burchard, those things to reflect on at the end of the day or each week kind of accomplish similar things. We are looking at ourselves and how we really have been doing, and we're looking for where our source, God, has been along with us. And so we're able to properly reflect us. I don't know about you, but when I get tired, I think I'm a failure. It's like I look at all the time I don't have and how much I didn't get done. And so actually having a real view of what I did, a real understanding of what God's still doing, because he's always going before us and making those crooked paths straight. He's always laying that groundwork that we can walk in. And when I have something that I can look at and say, no, I didn't fail. I actually did something. I actually started a few years ago because of that nighttime, low point. I started a gratitude entry. So at the end of a day, I would write one thing I was thankful for and one thing I accomplished. If it was a 2-minute video, I accomplished it. It went on there. But that gave me something to look at. And as I did that every day, it kept me wanting to accomplish something to put in the journal. So I didn't just lay around, but it also showed me realism. Our perspectives can get skewed sometimes.
Very easily.
I love that you've shared that journal with us. And I love that you include God in that to-do list in the morning. How neat. So how much would you say your journals contribute toward your creative writing or your articles and things that you write?
I don't have a percentage because my journal sometimes is seasonal, so sometimes I don't journal as much, but lately I've been journaling a lot more. So I would say, directly and indirectly, probably 75%, if not more.
Wow. That is awesome. And I am just thrilled that you said you sometimes write more and sometimes write less, because sometimes people feel pressured to keep a daily diary. There are little things that you can jot down once a day for a minute or two, like, what you're grateful for, what you accomplished. But you don't have to journal every day. Sometimes I'll go weeks and then I'm like, oh, I miss this focus time. I miss this reflection time, and I sit down with it and maybe write 3 pages. So don't feel that this is another to-do.
Right.
Just feel that this is a way you can be creative in a way that you can just celebrate the life that you're living. Years from now, you'll look back at these journals and go, I forgot about that. That was really cool, like I did the other night. So we are about to launch a new thing.
Yes, I'm excited.
We are, I love the Adventures with Sarah. I go to the Mayo Clinic. I mean, not the Mayo Clinic, the Mayo Hotel. And we go to Tokyo Garden. There's a new Tokyo Garden in Bixby. Good. And it is gorgeous and delicious. And so we had to check the place out the other day because we're going to have an author showcase there. We'd like for you to join us, whether you're a writer or not. We'd love to give you just an afternoon of enjoying good authors who share a little bit from their works, and there's all different kinds of works. And, we imagine you'll probably want to order some good sushi too. It is delicious. From 1 to 3, what day?
March 14th, which is a Saturday.
There you go. Saturday, March 14th from 1 to 3. How many authors do we have?
Well, we have, I think, 5, and then there should be a 6th one.
That's right. Tell us about the 5 that we have.
Yeah, so of course Christy and myself, and then Robert Ward. He's going to read, I think, a sci-fi entry, and then Lauren Selby. She's going to read from either a blog post about her middle grade story or maybe an excerpt of her middle grade story. It's fantasy. It's an introverted dragon and a absent-minded wizard. So it's quite whimsical and hilarious.
Awesome.
And then you want to share about Erin.
I'll read a little bit of Option Ocean, and then Erin Garcia is going to read. Now, Erin has just been an amazing influence in my life.
Mine too.
And yes, I've met her actually because of Sarah and our friend Donna Branch. And she is going to share a little bit of her memoir about dealing with anorexia. Mm-hmm. If you have ever felt less than, if you've ever looked at someone else and thought, well, they live according to some ideal that you haven't attained, and you've felt that strongly enough to sacrifice and ignore your own body, ignore your own sense to try to achieve an ideal that isn't always real, then you understand what Erin has gone through. And when you meet Erin, you'll never believe that she went through that, because she just lights up a room. She is so bubbly and just a powerhouse of encouragement and fun. So she's going to come and join us, and we also have another writer who is yet to be disclosed. You'll have to come to see. But we're going to have a good time, and that's just the beginning for this year. Check out Sarah's blog. What is the website?
Yes, it's www.sarahsoon.com. Mm-hmm. And if you can sign up be on the right-hand side, you can sign up to get my weekly newsletter in your inbox.
So sarahsoon.com, and just check out her journaling tips this month. They're going to be good, and all of her tips. And if you want to come to our author showcase, make sure you register because there are only a few seats. We'll see you there.
Bye.